I was just looking at a thing here. I see next week is Spirit Week at Lavina.
Oh, yeah?
I think you and I should do a Spirit Week and do a lot of the same activities. We just don't tell anybody at work. So, for instance, Monday's going to be pajama day for you and us.
Yeah. Pajama day.
Well, that inflection tells me how Paul feels about that.
What?
Pajama day.
The Breakfast Flakes podcast brought to you by the Blue Cat Bar and Grill, next to the Roadside Event Center in Huntley. The Blue Cat, it's where it's at.
524, Mark and Paul checking in, middle of the week, Weird Wednesday, coming up at 8:20, another code to go possibly win a trip to see Jelly Roll. Folks, it's coming. We get some wet. It's coming. We're going to need it. 94% tomorrow, according to my fancy Weather Channel app.
Quarter inch. Quarter inch is good.
Quarter inch.
That'll do it.
Also, some winter weather advisories. Bozeman Pass has got one. And if you're traveling, you'll have to have your heads up, but people in Montana do. Heavy mountain snowfall Thursday evening and Friday. Get the rain showers Wednesday into Thursday. Colder with wet snow possible along the foothills Thursday night with an uncertain snow potential around Livingston. Roads are expected to stay wet. If you're staying along the interstate, it shouldn't be bad. Livingston less than an inch, Bozeman less than an inch, but Bozeman Pass might get some. They're talking 4 to 6 inches down in Cook City, and right on the Wyoming border below Red Lodge, maybe 6 to 8 inches. So, and folks, we are dry. Need it bad. Looks like they're going to get some of that down by Sheridan too and help with that fire.
That's good.
Because that is also dry.
Boy, it was smoky yesterday for a while there. Ooh, man.
Well, folks, I know you've been here for most of it today. I'm going to give you a little bit of the part that you weren't here for yet this morning. Earlier in the week, Paul was a raccoon's daddy, and then he was a prairie dog's daddy, and then this morning, he was a printer's daddy.
I was a printer's daddy this morning.
Who's your daddy? Printing son of a gun.
Right. Give me that. I got you. I got your number, brother 830XL.
Look, you're going to print. It's just a matter of when you're going to start.
That's right. That's right. I brought my ballot in today. I figured I'd go down and get a new ballot today before our little stop by this morning, and forgot my phone, but I brought my ballot. But that's a good thing for me because then
it's liberating.
Yeah.
Yeah. On one hand, you hate to be without it, but on the other hand, so what?
I thought, well, if Mark decided today to, have something done on his vehicle, and he texts me, I'm not going to get it this morning, but that's about it. So I know where it is, safe and sound. So, besides, I kind of like it when no one can get a hold of me.
Back in the early days of cell phones, I got mine, I think, in 96, and I was dating a gal at the time that was kind of
crazy
and controlling.
Yeah.
And so we'd go to my friend's cabin at Seeley Lake, and Seeley did not have cell phone coverage at the time. Made her crazy. Why haven't you called me? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there's no way I can up here. Well, can't you drive to where there's cell coverage? Well, I could drive to Missoula, 40 minutes away, but that's not really getting away from it all, and I'll call you when I'm coming back. There's cell phone service in Helena. Let you know what's going on. You're not missing anything. Well, I went over to drop my ballot yesterday, and this isn't a criticism. It's constructive criticism, because I saw the people there collecting ballots in that parking lot, and it's a parking lot right next to the courthouse. And here's your problem. Where the courthouse is now and the amount of parking they have down there is not enough on a regular day.
Oh, no.
Let alone a day when you're trying to zoom people through. And so there was no place to park on the street, so I thought I'd pull in the lot with something that I can't back in or parallel park and see if I could find a parking spot, and talk to the people that were collecting ballots. How's it going? All been really busy. It's been good. So my first constructive criticism, do that at the Metro. Set those people up at the Metro. You got all that room down there. Also, secondly, because Paul and I didn't know they were going to do that. You got to get the word out to people. You get
That's
the word
right,
out.
because I wouldn't trust them.
No.
Well, we had a guy call yesterday. He said he took his in, and he said the place is packed. People just going in there by the hundreds.
So no place to park, so I'm going up towards the courthouse. Well, you're not supposed to turn right because that's a one-way coming in off a third. And to turn left, there's some guy that has apparently dropped his wife off in the courthouse, and he's parked off to the side of the road, but he's in the middle enough where I can't move. So I bump up, I beat the horn. He rolls up his window and looks the other way.
There you go.
Well, I guess we'll just wait till the missus gets out here.
Mark Wilson here.
Just anybody.
Yeah.
Circle the block, do something.
Yeah. I'm just going to grab mine and walk down.
Yep.
But because I got to get another one. I messed it up, and I'll do that today before our little stop by. But, that's a great point, though. They should have a drop-off like at Metra.
Right.
They should have, if they're going to do that, one out there on the West End somewhere. Mm-hmm. They do it for Christmas trees.
They do it for Christmas
leaves.
Trees. They did it for COVID shots.
That's right. Leaves, everything,
yep.
But not ballots.
Yeah.
No, not ballots.
No, if you set them up at Metra, you got all that room down there for people to not get out of their car. We did Flakesgiving without people getting out of their cars.
They got different places in town you can go get your plates renewed.
Right.
Got that.
Yeah. No, so, hey, I'm glad they're doing it, trying to expedite and make it easier for people. And you know what? There's a lot of people that might not vote because they can't walk that far.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So.
They can mail them.
Right.
You can mail them if you want to do that. But I was thinking last night, I was looking for my ballot because I set it on the table so I wouldn't forget it today. And I don't even know if my kids vote. I don't know. I don't know if they vote or not. That's their business,
Well, it's something you always talk about.
Yeah.
You're less likely to vote when you're younger.
Yeah, you try to instill in them, values and responsibilities and stuff. But you're not there every day. So I don't know. I don't know if they vote or not. Wouldn't know. It's their responsibility. I try to get them to do things right, but like Jake, he'd have to vote in California, and Maury would vote in Arizona, and Maddie would have to vote up in North Dakota, and so I don't know. I don't know if they do or not. I know I do, and I have since I have been 18. And a lot of people, if they screwed up their ballot, they would just say the hell with it and just throw it away and just not worry about it.
Not go through the hassle. I'm not going down to the courthouse.
Not me. I want to be part of it.
I do too.
Especially if we win. I want to be part of it. So that's why when you lose, you feel so bad because you're on the losing team. Nobody likes to lose. Elections are the only thing where the loser doesn't get a trophy.
Yeah.
So
sprinkles are for winners.
Right. Yeah. And I see now they're gonna have a gubernatorial debate here in this state. And I don't know how many thousands and thousands of votes, though, have already been cast.
Right.
Now they're going to have the debate, We offered to hold one, but John Tester didn't take us up on it. Greg Gianforte will debate Ryan Busse. And Greg Gianforte didn't want to debate him because Busse hadn't released his tax returns. Well, he has since then released his tax returns. So the debate will be hosted by ABC/Fox Montana, which I don't get anymore.
Well, and they don't have a local news team.
No. Channel 4 is no longer existent.
Well, who on the staff is going to ask the questions?
I don't know.
I know the majority of the people that work at Fox 4 here in Billings, none of them with any journalistic tendencies.
But I do you still get Fox 4?
Yeah.
See, I don't get Fox 4 anymore.
Right.
I get 2, 5, 6, and 8. I don't get 4. 4 is non-existent on DirecTV anymore.
Right. And that's been gone a while.
Long time, yeah. We don't have it anymore. So like all these games and stuff on Fox, I got to watch them on the split screen, the up in the little left-hand corner there of where you have like 6 different. That's how I got to watch events. Yeah.
I actually learned something about my cable box last night. I couldn't sleep, so I got out of bed, went and laid on the couch, and the cable box has got a clock on it, and then I've got another little clock radio plugged in. So that way, I've got a couple of different angles. Well, the angle where my head was at the north end of the couch, I could only see the cable box. And I got my phone with me, the phone set to go off at 3:20, so I'm not worried about that. So I look, and it's 1:11. And I roll over and I look, and it's 1:48, and it's 2:12, and then I look, it's 5:43. I said, "What the?" Well, the cable box will go back and forth between the last channel you watched and the clock, which I did. Which I did not know till this morning.
Okay, there you go.
Huh? It's weird. Paul hadn't called me since I'm about an hour and a half late.
Get ready for a spooktacular October at the Roadside Event Center. Friday, October 11th, join them for Bingo, a fundraiser for Pack the Place in Pink. Get tickets now for Dueling Pianos on Friday and Saturday, October 18th and 19th. And plan for a Halloween weekend filled with fun. The Blue Cat has fantastic food and drinks. Sushi and sliders on Sundays, Italian night Mondays, prime rib Saturdays, and loaded Bloody Marys all weekend. The Blue Cat Bar and Grill, Northern Avenue in Huntley, just 9 miles east of the Metro Park exit.
Bussey is a former firearms company executive, but then he left the gun industry because they were marketing military-type rifles. And as a gun company executive, he should know that a military-type rifle is not a military rifle. Mm-hmm. So it looks like one. Whoop-de-doo. Doesn't operate like one. It just looks like it. Like a Hummer. Looks like a Humvee. Mm-hmm. And but they're not. They're not thick-plated to prevent bombs from blowing up underneath them and protecting. I mean, they're just not. They look like it. You can buy camouflage clothing. You can look like a military guy when you go out and bow hunt if you want.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's military clothing. If it's military type, it looks like one, but it's not one. John Tester doesn't like GN40 because he moved to Bozeman back in 1995 and founded a big business that employed hundreds and hundreds of people and helped them make great livings and then sold the company. And then the AP put this in the article at the very end. Meade Groover from the Associated Press wrote this. And this is what they do. I told Mark this morning, folks, I've been looking at these headlines for years and years and years. Every single headline this year that comes out on a Trump story is all negative. Mm-hmm. Every one is negative. Negative. A criminal case put an early stain on GN40's political career. He was charged with a misdemeanor in 2017 when he body slammed a reporter. But he went on to win the seat in the House anyway. That's because the little lippy bastard had it coming.
If you'd have met that guy,
yes,
you'd understand.
Yeah,
you'd have hit him too.
Yeah, that's right. That shows he's one of us. Mm-hmm. If anything shows that he's from Montana, it was that action, because you just don't diss people like that.
Just because I'm running for office doesn't mean you get to give me any less respect than anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't say who's going to host it or ask the questions or anything, but it's irrelevant at this point. So many ballots have already been filled out, cast, sent in. Nobody is currently undecided. There is nobody in the United States of America right now who is currently undecided.
And especially for one of the more important positions.
Yeah. If you are currently undecided, don't call here. Don't call here. You can't be. You can't be undecided at this point. I mean, really? How much more do you need? You've got 18 years of results from John Tester. Mm-hmm. You know what the 4 years of your life was like when Donald Trump was president. You know what the world was like, the economy was like, you know what your life was like, you know what your rent was like, your savings account, everything. You know what that all was like. And you know what it's been like under Biden and Harris. There's no way you should be undecided at this point. Mm-mm. Same with GN40. GN40's been governor. You know what it's been like. He's got a track record. So, do you want more of the same statewide as we're getting or not? Then it's that simple. You are the kind of people that get ahead of me at the Wendy's drive-thru. I am not crapping you, Mark. You know what I'm talking about.
I just had one last week.
See?
Have you never been here before?
Really? God, do you have to scan the whole... You know you're going to get your favorite, but you look through... What is a chalupa? Or, all the... you always get the super burrito and 2 tacos. Mm-hmm. You always get that. They are decided when they get to the board. Mm-hmm. Same way with the election. People know by now. They already know. And if you don't know, call me. I had some people call yesterday want to know because they don't follow it. They don't know. I told them what I think. Do what you want. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I don't even know if my kids vote or not. They don't call me. They don't ask me about it. They're in different states anyway. Hope they have enough damn sense in them to do it. But yeah, we've all been there at the drive-thrus.
Well, the ones I like, there's somebody in front of you, and I got the window down, but I'm not eavesdropping on what they're ordering, but it takes 4 minutes to order what they want. And they pull up to the window, and all they get is a drink.
Yeah. What's the difference between the chicken sandwich and the grilled blah, blah, blah? You know, nobody, when you pull up to a drive-thru, folks, when you pull up to a drive-thru window, nobody says, "Hi, this is Dan. I'm going to be your waiter today. Let me describe to you what we have going on here." That's not it, is it, Mark?
We've got a steak tartare that looks particularly delicious today.
Yeah, exactly. It's got a little burgundy wine sauce that we throw on with a mix. That's one of our specials today. The number 2 is freshly grilled salmon with... Nobody does that when you go to a drive-thru. Those are the people. Those are the only people that can't decide how they're going to vote. That's it. That's it. That's why you never want to go to Costco undecided.
Oh.
You never want to go into Costco undecided. I'm going in. I don't know what I'm going to come out with. I'm just going in there anyway and cause a wreck in the middle of the aisles, because what I'm going to do is put my cart right there, and there is no... You're not even in the fast lane or the slow lane. You're right in the middle of the highway, and nobody can get around you.
Those are bigger, wider aisles, and people still block them with one cart.
I know it. Or the big push yellow ones with the wheels on it, they turn sideways.
Yeah.
Make it easier to load. Well, hell, let's just stop everyone's life. That's why you can't go in there undecided. It costs you more. Same thing with elections. Everybody should be decided by now. By now, you should know. That's the whole point of the story, of which we've been going on just for about 5 minutes here. But so that debate's not going to make any difference whatsoever. And if I'm a candidate at this point, I say, screw you. I'm not doing a debate now. Half the votes have already been cast. And if I know you little journalism graduate, you're just going to try to make a you gotcha moment to make a name for yourself.
And is this going to be another debate where the public is not allowed to go to it?
If John Tester were in here, I would ask him and I would ask Tim Sheehy exactly the same question. Exactly the same one. John Tester and Tim Sheehy, here's your first question. Are each one of you willingly paying the current Donald Trump tax rates? Tim Sheehy would say, yeah. And John Tester would have to answer it. And yet that's one of the first things they want to do in April of next year, is let all of your current tax rates, you know, your lower ones, all expire. But people don't talk about that. These are things that are going to affect people, not them. I'm not going to ask them questions that will affect them in the Senate. I'm going to ask questions that will affect you in the public. Right. That's what I'm going to ask. Tehran John, are you still happy by being the deciding vote that gave Barack Obama the ability to negotiate with terrorist countries like Iran and make their own deal and eviscerate Congress? And I asked Tim Sheehy the same way. Would you have voted for that? But too late for the debates, I believe. One of the big questions of the day is, do you people have a life? That's the real question of the day. Do you people really have a life? Dozens of people rallied outside of the headquarters of Kellogg's cereal maker. They want them to remove the dyes that they use in Fruit Loops.
How about you just don't buy them? How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Why don't I make the decision for my family? And why don't you shove your decision up your ass? That's what I would say.
That's a great quote.
Thank you. The makers of Fruit Loops, they announced 10 years ago that they would maybe consider a way to remove some of those colors from their products, but they still contain artificial colors. Activists said they're delivering petitions with signatures asking the company to make the change. The company said the products are safe. I ate Fruit Loops when I was a kid.
As did I.
I'm fine. Apple Jacks, too. They want them taken out of Apple Jacks. They said in other countries, Fruit Loops are colored with concentrated carrot juice, watermelon juice, and blueberry juice. But in the U.S., they still contain artificial content. Well, then move to Canada.
Right. Go wherever it is that they make the food you like and leave us alone.
That's right. Go where the rest of the Fruit Loops live. See, here's the thing in America. If you don't like a product, you don't buy it.
Right.
That's how it works in America. If you don't buy it and you don't support it, guess what happens to the company? They go broke.
You know what?
Or they quit making buying it.
You know what I don't buy?
What?
Cream cheese.
That's right. Yogurt.
Right.
Right. Mark doesn't buy it. It's not good for him. Yogurt is not good for Mark. It makes him vomit uncontrollably. That's why he doesn't eat it.
Just never cared for it.
I eat yogurt.
Yeah.
I'm here for all the mothers who struggle to feed their kids healthy food.
Who are also welcome to just not buy their product.
She's a food activist. You probably go to University of Montana for that one too.
Probably.
They're all the ones in the North End Zone.
Oh,
food activists, journalism majors, they're all in the North End Zone.
We got a pretty big deal coming up at Kellogg this weekend.
That's right. They previously have pressured Kraft Heinz to take out some dye from their macaroni and cheese.
Go away.
Did you eat macaroni and cheese, Mark?
Still do.
Yep, I do too. I'm fine. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has reviewed and evaluated the effects of color additives and said children have no adverse effects when they consume them. Now, last year, the snack division of Kellogg was spun off from the cereal division. Kellogg said, our foods are safe and all of our ingredients comply with federal regulations. You know why? They would have to. Because if they don't, they would be sued for billions upon billions of dollars.
This was all made safe before you got in an uproar about the color of my cereal.
That's right. Exactly. The company said 85% of all of our cereal sales contain no colors or artificial sources in them. All the other brands that they offer for their consumers, which means you have options.
Right.
You don't have to buy it.
God, walk down the cereal aisle at the store. How many choices do you have?
How come none of these people protest that pot and cigarettes is available and the carcinogens in there will give you cancer, possibly, and kill you?
Mm-hmm.
Get ready for a spooktacular October at the Roadside Event Center. Friday, October 11th, join them for Bingo, a fundraiser for Pack the Place in Pink. Get tickets now for Dueling Pianos on Friday and Saturday, October 18th and 19th. And plan for a Halloween weekend filled with fun. The Blue Cat has fantastic food and drinks. Sushi and sliders on Sundays, Italian night Mondays, prime rib Saturdays, and loaded Bloody Marys all weekend. The Blue Cat Bar and Grill, Northern Avenue in Huntley, just 9 miles east of the Metro Park exit.
What do you think you're going to die from? A Fruit Loop or cigarettes?
I talked to a guy in hospice. He said he should
Damn Fruit Loops.
Should have cut out the Fruit Loops years ago.
Yeah, I know it. Fruit Loops did it. Fruit Loops. And the only reason Kellogg announced years ago they were considering it was because customers changed their appetites, just like anything changes, and customers, new ones, were seeking out more foods that had natural ingredients. So the company says, all right, if this is the trend, if this is the way America is turning, then we're going to make more cereals like that. Raisin Bran and the other things and the granola type cereals that people wanted because they were healthier and that. So they knew what the trend was and they changed their trend and went more that direction. That the consumer dictates what these companies are going to make.
Right.
If you don't like them, don't buy them. Last month, Democrat Goofy Newsom in California, he signed a bill. It bans food dyes from being served in all of the public schools. California law now bans 4 dyes that are used in Fruit Loops. That's California, folks. The border is on the wrong side of California.
I agree.
The border should have been put on the north side and not the south side. They are crazy. Supermajority, in California. That's what you get when you have a supermajority.
Oh, yeah, get all the crazy stuff passed.
Oh, yeah. They do the damnedest stuff. Can't drink through a paper straw, plastic straw. They ban this, ban that. $20 for all the fast food workers. I mean, the list just goes the nuts. And yet, they want to ban cell phones in all schools. Now, figure that one out. Just assume, as you know, they're bat crap crazy. They do something like that, which makes sense. But folks, if you don't like a product, you don't buy it.
That's my policy.
How many foods out there are bad for people? Thousands of them. We don't stop drive-thrus. We don't stop French fries. Chicken, deep fat fried foods.
We got away from that all healthy meal at McDonald's because they weren't selling anything.
Buffets.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on. Sugars. We don't ban ice ice cream shops. You think there's artificial coloring in ice cream?
Yeah.
No, we're going after Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops. If they start winning, and anything that could possibly be harmful to a human body, they get banned, you're not going to have much left.
No.
What'd you say yesterday? How many items in a grocery store? 50,000?
50,000, I thought.
And there was 9,000 back in the 70s. Preservatives, all those kind of things in your foods. You'll be able to buy fresh fruit, fresh bread, fresh meat, and dry grains, and that will be about it. And once again, if any of those are produced with herbicides or pesticides, there's growth hormones in the animals to make that, or this and that, none of that will be allowed. And Americans, look at them. They enjoy all the things that are not good for you. It's just the way it is. So, do those people have a full-time job? Do they work?
Most don't.
These activists? What the hell do they do for a living to where they have all that spare time? Like all those rioters and stuff that show up around the country all the time during the day and they burn and loot and scream and what the hell do they do? How did they do that on a Tuesday or a Thursday?
Yeah.
Don't they work?
Hey, going back to your second protest march, we had the anti-protesters here by the station. None of them had to take off work to come.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up again. I'm surprised you didn't bring up the Glendive article again today.
Well, everybody knows you hate Glendive.
I don't hate Glendive.
Folks, we're on a little break from writing articles while we're trying to replace some staff, and I got to tell you,
it's great.
It has made our job about 75% better.
It's great. Love it. Riverstone Health here in Billings article today, they're trying to reduce firearm deaths by promoting safe gun storage. You can't blame suicide and mental health on gun storage. Safe gun storage is something that people should practice anyway.
Right.
But it has no bearing on people's mental health. Once again, that's taking the item of choice and putting all the responsibility on the item instead of individuals. Rather than trying to figure out and they're in the medical field, rather than trying to figure out what's causing these feelings and these thoughts, we're going to the item of choice. Firearms have been the leading cause of death for children and teens for the past 4 years, surpassing motor vehicles. Well, according to the CDC, the number one killer of people under the age of 40 is fentanyl. Between 2018 and 2022, 103 children and teenagers under the age of 19 died by firearm. Okay, so that's about 25 per year. How many under the age of 19 have died from drug overdoses or alcohol in that same time frame? How many? Nobody says lock up the liquor cabinet, do they? No. 80 of those deaths were suicide. Those suicides were not because people own guns. They weren't because they were because of the mental and problems and things that we are not diagnosing or we are not taking care of. You know, I got a better idea that I think would stop and prevent a lot of the social destruction of our young children. Lock up the cell phone. Notice there's nothing like that in the article.
And yeah, not compared as any of the problems.
No. Where do you think they get these ideas? These things that are drilled into their head that you need to escape. This world is an awful place. There's a better place for you on the other side. Sometimes it's just better to relieve the pain and leave all that behind. Where do you think that indoctrination comes from? Maybe we should be more responsible and lock up the cell phones in a safe. Maybe that would help alleviate the destruction of the brain of your young, beautiful child. Nobody in the medical profession talks about locking up the cell phones responsibly, do they? No, it's the weapon of choice all the time. Democrats in Congress have appealed to the U.S. companies around America to please keep your diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in place, while major companies are dropping them faster than they can count. Ford, Harley-Davidson, John Deere, Lowe's, Coors, all dropping their DEI programs. It's not right, folks, to hire somebody just because of what they are.
Right.
For instance, president. It's not right to pick one just because they're Hispanic, they're African American, they're white Caucasian, they're Jewish. That's not why you pick one. Would they pick a surgeon based on that if they had to have a major surgery? No, those Democrats want the best surgeon.
That's right.
Qualifications, experience, that type of thing. These companies realized it, and what do they suffer? They suffer productivity. They suffer from the lack of the best employee because they hired someone based on their sex, their gender, what they were doing, and they lose. You don't hire people for that reason. There's 800,000 residents in Montana that are registered to vote. Out of those 800,000, 137,000 of them are inactive, meaning that if they were an absentee voter, they will not receive a ballot in the mail.
Right.
People who've moved, they haven't updated their addresses with their elections office. They didn't vote in the recent federal election. If you didn't vote in the last one, you're all moved to an inactive list. You won't just automatically then get a ballot in the mail. Whenever you have a presidential election, you always have a bigger turnout, big Senate race this year. So we should have a pretty good turnout. Hopefully we get a 60% turnout at least. Montana's Senate election is the most expensive in the nation's history on a per voter basis in Montana.
Wow, that says something right there.
Mm-hmm. That's how much Chuck is going to give Tester to try to influence your vote. Lobbyist cash, folks. Imagine that. Imagine that. That's why all these commercials are running.
Mm-hmm.
John Tester was the first one to tell America. He was the Senate. First senator to tell America that Joe Biden should step down from running for president. Why? I just read you the line why. This Senate race is the most expensive Senate election in the nation's history on a per voter basis. That's why. John Tester, if John Tester did that, the lobbyist, Schumer, the Democratic Party promised to buy him a Senate seat.
Mm-hmm.
He still hasn't endorsed their replacement for Joe Biden. He hasn't done that yet. When will John Tester decide on who's he going to vote for? Obviously, John Tester knows when he goes to Wendy's what he wants right away. So I'm sure he knows who he's going to vote for. Does anybody doubt it? Why won't he say it? Why won't he say it? You got to do everything you can, folks, to vote. You can't trust the system anymore. You have to make it too big to rig. That's the way it has to be. Too big to rig. If you're going to vote in person, it's November 5th. Keep that in mind. Couple weeks.
But don't worry, they'll keep the commercials coming.
Oh, yeah. Even through Election Day.
Mm-hmm.
They'll keep them coming. And there's an article today in the paper about the fire down in Wyoming. They announced the reopening of Highway 14 down there from Graybull to the Burgess Junction. Elk Fire now, 91,905 acres. They are getting a little containment on that fire. 80 degrees doesn't help them fight it, but a lot of the fire is burning in 7,000 to 7,500 foot elevations, and they're going to get several inches of snow out of the storm there.
Good.
So that will help them. And then the rebuilding starts. And the regeneration of the grasses. It'll look like Ireland back there at the first start of spring next year, but still that doesn't replace all the infrastructure and stuff that is lost down there, and the fences and the pasture and the feed and those kind of things. And had the same thing in western North Dakota, with all their fires over there. They didn't get quite the publicity the fires in Wyoming got, but that's that picture of that cow that I put in there that burned up over there in western North Dakota. So they need it too, and hopefully this storm system will hit us and northern Wyoming and western North Dakota and put a stop to all this for the season. It'd be good to see that wildfire season is officially over.
Yes, it would.
So we'll continue. We'll gather up our stuff, and Mark and I, we're going to have a bowl of Fruit Loops and kick the show off with First News coming
all right.
up.
First News on the way, 6:13.
The Breakfast Flakes podcast brought to you by the Blue Cat Bar and Grill, next to the Roadside Event Center in Huntley. The Blue Cat, it's where it's at.